Well, hey, greetings and salutations, everyone, and happy middle of October. And if you haven't filed your taxes yet, today is the last day you can do it officially with an extension. Just thought I'd let you guys know. We are going to have a little fun today in creating this webinar today. I took a lot of visuals about what we're talking about. It's kind of a little bit of continuation that we did last week from Dean Graciosi and his book, Millionaire Success Habits, The Great Gateway to Wealth and Prosperity. But before we dive into that, we have a very, very special guest who is actually in my neighborhood, Dayton, who is just joined us and started officially about a week ago and has, as of this morning, opened his first school. And we're going to have a presentation later in probably early November. So we just wanted to get Dayton's perspective and how he did it and share it from us all. So Dayton, take it away.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Walt. Yeah, so my name is Dayton Reinsberger. I actually started in the insurance industry, I would say about a few years ago. I was selling healthcare over the phone and accumulated Walter as one of my clients. I just knew Walt was a sharp guy, so I kept in contact with him. It turns out he lived relatively close to me. So once I found that out, I had to sit him down for lunch, pick his brain for a while. You know, he ended up helping me out with some retirement planning. And one thing led to the next, and I ended my relationship with my firm professionally. And he offered me this position. And the thing was, I didn't take it at first. I actually said, you know what, maybe I should hold off. You know, after beating my head against the wall for a couple weeks, I called him back and said, well, I definitely got to get on board with you on this. So after breaking everything down, showed me ownership, showed me comp structure, and it really just dawned on me that you don't pay for leads. That was the biggest thing to me, was there's no money put out for leads. And that's say the biggest thing when opening a call center. You have to have traffic. So when Walt told me, hey, look, all you do is you go to schools, you tell the principal you want to give a presentation. You know, he basically just didn't overcomplicate it for me. He went out with me one day. We hit a few schools, and the way I was able to open a school within, I think, 8 days was I was just consistent, and I just knew what I wanted. Like at nighttime before I went to bed, my mother is blind, and she's on Social Security. So I just keep thinking about, and I still think about, I want to have the day where I call my bank and transfer $60,000 into her checking account. You know, I want to have that day. So I would mentally prepare myself the night before and in the morning. And it didn't matter what happened. I had a list of schools that I was going to. You know, again, traffic, raining, got really windy outside. Doesn't matter. I was going to those schools, and in my mind, I needed to speak to the principal because that's the decision maker. So like any other sale, I approached a school, made contact, and I was just persistent. I knew that if I got 20 no's, right, this is a general rule. If I got 20 no's, I was eventually someone, it's impossible. Not everybody's not just going to tell you no. Someone's going to say, you know what, Dayton, you can absolutely give a presentation here. And that's all I was looking for. I was just sifting through the quote unquote BS, the objections, until I got the person telling me yes. I drove from Long Beach down to Irvine to Newport. I mean, me and Walt went about everywhere. But I would have to say that the success I've had, not a ton of success, very, very small amount, just a sliver, but success nonetheless, I got from just being persistent and keeping a healthy mentality, because I knew I was going to get the result I wanted to if I stayed persistent. That's really about it.
Well, one thing you said this morning was my parked car analogy.
Yeah, so that's when Walt asked me this morning, like, hey, I want you to be on this webinar. What's something you'd like to talk about? The number one thing I said is Walter always says this. It's Walter Lusk's famous quote, right? It's
well, I've been known for my Waltisms.
Well, the quote goes, "You can't steer a parked car," and that's kind of like the saying, no matter where you are in life, there you are. It kind of just hits you like a ton of bricks. It's like, okay, well, I'm bitching and complaining, or I'm complaining that I don't make $250,000 per year. However, what am I doing to change anything? So when Walt says you can't steer a parked car, what he's saying is just put one of your feet in front of the other, and then do it again. And then you started walking. Then you can start steering yourself in the direction and moving over obstacles. And and how you see fit so you get the goal you want. So that's the main thing I would encourage anybody to do, is sit and think about this quote for a while, let it hit you like a ton of bricks. You know, it's the quote is, you cannot steer a parked car, and then wake up and put one foot in the front of the other. And I guarantee you, if you just follow those simple steps by putting one foot in front of the other, keeping a healthy mentality, being consistent, you're going to get the results you're looking for. I mean, it's impossible for you not to.
Dayton, you fell right into what I'm presenting tonight. Thank you so much. Good night, everybody. The point is, you can't steer a parked car. I mean, you start it, and whether it's a clutch or an automatic, you're gonna hit a post or hit the curb, or hit a parking meter. It doesn't matter. You're on the road. You're going forward. You're facing forward. You're looking forward. You're not staring in the rearview mirror and looking back of, how bad a day you had yesterday or last month, and making minor modifications and a little adjustments. Boom. And you talked about another thing we're talking about here is a big why. Because last week we talked about success is achieved by developing our strengths and not eliminating our weaknesses. We can focus on our weaknesses all day long, but unless we focus on what we're good at and what we enjoy doing, our strengths, we really aren't going to get anywhere. And the quote this week is, when your desires are strong enough, you will appear to possess superhuman powers to achieve. And that was done by none other than Napoleon Hill. I don't know if you guys know this. Back in the 50s, he created a double album. Wasn't even a cassette, wasn't an MP3, was a double LP record that sold over 1 million copies, platinum. And that's what spurred him on to success and had the Nightingale Conant outfit. So when your desires are strong enough, you will appear to possess superhuman powers to achieve. So we're going to expand on that a little bit. What are your superhuman powers and how do you get them? And Dayton has even addressed that, and I didn't even know it. How big is your why? Because the how is going to happen, as we're talking about in a minute. What's your why? If your why is big enough, everything else will fall into place. I promise you. I promise you. Because in us all, where there's a hero and there's a villain. And the question is, which one are you going to give more credence to? Are you going to feed that villain and focus on that and focus on fear and lack and scarcity and wonder how in the heck you're going to make this happen, how in the heck you're going to pay your bills? Because if you focus on that, that's what you're going to get. Or you can focus on being a hero, on focus on being abundant, having freedom, having success. We all get what we attract, and we all attract what we focus on. And sometimes just with a little modification, again, that our car analogy, and we change our focus just a little bit, you know what? We can make some dramatic changes, and the results are going to be very positive and huge. So the question is, are you going to feed the villain? Is Snidely going to win? And I'm giving you guys maybe some ideas for Halloween costumes this year. I don't think you want to have Snidely on your shoulder telling you can't do it. Nobody's done it in your family. You haven't done it yet. You know what? We can hear all the excuses and we want, but I have a feeling that inside all of you and all of us is a superhero. And what we're going to do as a superhero is we are going to smack that villain Snidely right in the kisser and proceed. And how and why are we going to do that? Because your why will keep you going. And Dayton said that as well. It's going to keep you going on the days when you don't want to. When all of a sudden, you know what, the morning got away from you. Well, that's okay. They're still there in the afternoon, certainly after school's gone. And even sometimes it's better when the kids are gone between like 3:30, 3 o'clock, and 4, when they're still open. There's a higher chance the principal might be there. But again, your why is what's going to keep you going and keep you going on days where you just don't want to. Because the kick here is we need a big why, right? And we need a why that is bigger than our fears. But you notice what's missing in that equation? The how. Do you know that I had $900 in my checking account last December 24th? I had $900. I had no idea how I was going to have a great year this year, but I knew that it was going to happen because I had an air of expectation an air of anticipation, and I didn't worry about the how. I really didn't focus on the fears. I just proceeded to go out and try and make it happen. And you know what? I stumbled upon a little ad in Craigslist on the right day, and Kelly finally called me, and here we are. So again, what is your why? So tonight, I just want you to little quiet time to just take a couple of deep cleansing breaths. That's taking a deep breath in your mouth and exhaling through your nose, and just close your eyes in a quiet place. You can sit or lie down, whatever, even if it's before you go to bed, and just focus on your why. Why are you doing this? And I promise you, a lot of your fears are going to be taken away. The villain in us is going to shrink, and the superhuman in you is going to come out. And the how is easy. We've already got the how, but the real issue is not the how, it's the why. Because as Dayton shared, you know what? I said, hey, got this great thing. He goes, you know what? I can't do it. For whatever reason, can't do it. Then I enlightened him. It's the same thing approaching a teacher, right? Or a principal or superintendent or headmaster. You enlighten them. Just, it doesn't take much. All of a sudden they figure, you know what? I want to do this. And then after that, it's like, well, how do I do this? Because if you think about it, and I learned a long time ago, it's wish, want, need, got. We can wish stuff all we want, okay? And they're just wishes, right? We're a kid. I wish I was this, I wish I was that. Or, a little older, I want this, I want that. Well, you know what? It's not going to happen, right? What is your need? So it's wish, want, need, got. I use the analogy of, you don't have a lot of money and one of your tires is getting bald, and all of a sudden you can't afford tires, but you get a flat tire. Now what? It went from I want a tire to, gosh, I have no spare. I got to get around. I now need a tire. And somehow, some way, you get the cash to go buy another tire and you're on the road again. So Dayton went out and we'd worked together, tried it, and he got a little bit of success, a little bit of confidence, went out and said, I can do it. And he was smart enough and wise enough to call me and say, hey, I said this, I did that. And I just gave him a little bit of direction, a little bit of steering. And the next day he was more successful, and boom, he went out and did it and had success of opening a school. Because all of us have the cans and the can'ts, right? And it doesn't take much to pull off that little apostrophe T and go, instead of I can do it, right? So, and now Dayton's got some momentum. And as we've stated, I've said, momentum can work for us or it can work against us. And it doesn't take much. It really doesn't, as you've heard. Just some being persistent, being consistent, and having a big why. Because then you know what happens? You're able to jump over whatever you've got to climb over. See, this gentleman here is climbing over a crevasse that's probably, 6-7 feet. And he's not just going to stand at the end and jump. He's got to have some momentum. He's got to have a little inertia. He's got to have a big why of why he wants to climb it over and end up at WSLG, or Wealth Strategies Leadership Group, to be a part of it. And with some momentum and inertia and a big why, guess what? He's a success. He's impacting lives. He's impacting his checkbook. He's impacting his family. He's impacting his children, and she as well, children's lives, and the lives of children and kids that we're going to impact and help get through college and pay college, and the parents as well. So you are a ginormous, huge hero to a lot of people. Is that motivating? It is to me. It sure is to me. Because at the top of the mountain, it's not lonely. But you know what? What satisfaction do you get from realizing you overcame, you had a bigger why, you were able to jump over some hurdles and make it to the top, right? Because remember, we've talked about this, that there's really three kinds of people in the world. And there's those that make things happen, watch things happen, or they just watch and wonder what in the heck happened. See, what scares me is, where do you want to be in 6 months? Where do you want to be in 12 months? Do you want to be right where you are? You just want to watch and wonder? Or do you want to go out there, take some initiative, put on, as the line is from The Incredibles, put on your super suit and go out there and just pick about 30 schools and just meet people, greet people, having their expectation with a big why. And guess what? You're going to be a hero. You really are. Because I promise you, as Dayton has proven, some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. The person we met this morning is a doctor. She's a doctor of education, and she went to a local university, and as we're familiar with. And guess what she's got? School debt. And she's not too thrilled about it. And she wants to make sure that the parents and students that she's a principal of get the education, but do it without debt. So I'm challenging you guys to go out there, and this motivating picture can either be at the start of your day, I'm going to go out and be a hero, or at the end of your day. I went out there and I met some people, I got some referrals, I got some no's, I got some yeses, but I'm a hero. Because as Dayton has said, Babe Ruth was, in his day, he was the home run hitter. And that record stood for decades. And they didn't have those metal bats and all that other stuff. They just had a wood bat and went out there and slugged it out. But what also was he? He was the strikeout leader of his day as well. And that record stood for decades as well. If you simply go out and increase your chances at bat, you're not only going to have more strikeouts, but you're, by just default, as Dayton has said, you are going to have some home runs. So if you enjoyed this, let me know. If you didn't, I challenge you to do the next webinar for us, and maybe you got some ideas for Halloween. And then nothing else, every one of you guys is a hero. So don't feed the villain. Don't focus on the villain. Don't look at the rearview mirror. Look forward. Seize the day. Maybe you want to play the song "Eye of the Tiger," which was from the Rocky series. I know a lot of folks that have used that as a momentum song to do. But it's out there, it's available, and it's here. So feed the hero in you and put the numbers in your favor. And I appreciate you guys watching, participating, being a part of WSLG, listening, and going out and doing it. So next will be your story of how you overcome and can be a hero. So have a fabulous evening. See you in the highways and the byways. God bless everyone. And you all, every one of you is a hero. God bless.